So keep relax your body and be comfortable with your posture and focus your mind to this bell sound. So while you focus into the sound, let your body to settle down itself, relax your breathing, relax your body. And keep close your eyes, please. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Namo tassa bhagavato arahato samma sambuddhassa. Dear Dhamma friends, before we start our session, I will give some guidelines and it will help you while you practice. So in the beginning, be aware yourself. We go step by step. So when it comes to this meditation, our main purpose is not look for comfort, not look for kind of serenity inside us. Our main purpose is uplifting our awareness or developing our wisdom, recognizing our sensation. So before we get into that level, in the beginning, we have to settle down ourselves. Why? Because the very nature of the mind, it always go here and there. And then you had a busy day. So then you used to do many other activities. Now you're going to sit for meditation. So then the very first thing, you have to allow your mind to settle down. So when it comes to tranquility meditation, the method going to become little by little different. And how it going to become different? In the beginning, you put some attention to bring your mind to one pointness. So in the beginning, you put some effort to bring the mind towards the sensation. And for some, they no need that. But yourself, you have to see, if you are able to focus your mind to inhalation, exhalation, then you can go with it. But in case, if you cannot get into that, then what you have to do, and bring little effort. And keep again and again focus towards the sensation and follow the inhalation, exhalation. So get out of all other thoughts and keep your sensation of the inhalation, exhalation as your primary mental object in front of your nose and your upper lip area. And then when the inhalation happens, recognize as inhalation. When the exhalation happens, recognize as exhalation. Don't go with any other thought. Sometimes thought arise, sometimes other things can disturb. But again and again, stay with it. And little by little, let your mind to settle down. So the very first step, separately recognize inhalation, exhalation. For that, you no need that much attention. In the surface level, very easily you can recognize, you can divide, this is inhalation, this is exhalation. Important thing, don't try to do anything. Don't try to make anything happen. And all your bodily, verbally, mentally action shut down. So don't interfere with inhalation, exhalation. Allow it to happen naturally. So that is one of the very important thing that you have to remember, because we are naturally always interfere with our mind. So let things to settle down. And in the beginning, this is inhalation, this is exhalation. When the mind settle down with, if the mind get used to with that, then bring little bit more attention. This is the beginning, middle, and end. If the mind become more used to that, observe deeply the difference in between the inhalation, exhalation. Some become longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. So like that, you go in the process. So this is all tranquility state. This now you have the effort. And then when it comes to tranquility state, your mind, your breathing, your body start to settle down. One thing you have to remember, so even though in the beginning that you doing this and you bring the effort to do this, when you go to Vipassana level, slowly get out of from the doer. That means you're not doing anything. You're not trying to calm down. You're not trying to achieve anything. You're not trying to make anything happen. So that is important, especially even with the calmness. So the recognizing the sensation. That inner effort, you should not interfere with the self-centered mind. I practice meditation. So I am here and I do this. So don't get into like that. And that it's like this. And one meditation teacher, the well-known Achan Brahmavanso, one time he mentioned this way: don't interfere with the will and work with wisdom. So if you work with the will, that means you interfere with the self-centered idea. I do this. It should be like this. It should be calm down. It should be that settle down. So like that, you go with it. So you don't do like that way. You completely settle down deeply and stay with the sensation and recognize the sensation. But in the beginning, so be very careful. In the beginning, sometimes you have to have the effort to bring the mind to calm down. So once you get into tranquility state, in the deeper tranquility state, there is no doer, because it itself going to happen. That is the best moment that you can experience in tranquility, because there is no doer. There is no self-centered person observing, I do this, it happened to me, like that way. And then from there, when you go into the Vipassana level of understanding, the very first thing, you have to get out of all the mental ideas. And you become completely free from that all. And when you become free from the mental interference and allow the inhalation, exhalation to happen itself, that is where you're going to recognize the sensation very clearly and the change. So just follow the change and experience the change. Don't keep a gap, observer and the experience. So this both the one. So then when the inhalation happens, just observe what you experience as inhalation. When the exhalation happens, what you experience as exhalation, and see the change happening in between inhalation and exhalation. So that is the first step. You get into this, observe the 5 aggregates. And little by little, slowly, this is a process. When you take the first step right, the next one going to be okay. You cannot do it. You cannot jump into that. It's going to arise. It's like once you plant a seed, you cannot take a tree out of it. Only thing, you provide the necessary soil and the water and the protection. And then what will happen? The seed itself going to give you the tree. When the necessary conditions happen, it arises. The tranquility state also the same. Your through awareness also the same. When the necessary conditions there, naturally your samadhi level, tranquility state arise. And even in the vipassana level, the understanding arise itself when the necessary conditions are there. So that is the only thing, moment by moment. You practicing mean in the beginning, you provide the necessary conditions. And once you provide it, you protect that without allowing it to disappear. So Chanda, Chitta, Virya, Vimansa. Those are the four things that you need to practice this. So Chanda means the desire. That in itself you have the intention to do this, because otherwise the mind is start to go away. And the Chitta, that you involving with it. Otherwise you're not waiting till somebody else to do it. You not think that in a certain level, it's like 100 times you chant something, then the result going to come. You're not doing like that way. You don't think you're doing the puja, and once the puja going to be right, somebody come and interfere with that and going to give you the result. No. So the chitta means 100% mentally you involving with it. And the virya is the effort you put it to according to the right method, the right way, and not too much and not too less. And vimansa, that always yourself, you are conscious aware regarding the journey that you go. So otherwise that sometimes out of the meditation you get something else. And you sit for meditation, and your main idea is finding the peace at least, and tranquility state, at least you could try to understand something. But how about somebody start to cook, going to make tea, watching TV, children playing, and now you close your eyes and start to sit and think, and then you get disappointed. And somebody watching TV and they are, and you thinking, and you practice meditation, they don't care and they don't respect you, and so like that. And then this go like a roller coaster in your mind. And then after meditation, your pace become bigger, longer, and you become unhappy. So it is better than you go and watch the TV. Why? Because you are here and you're not happy. So that is not the chitta. Vimansa is you always look for the condition, what is happening here. You not allow to that your previous habitual patterns to come and overtake the moment. So this is again and again, you every moment. It is just not by when you start the meditation, again and again you go with it and stay with it. So this is very necessary. And in a certain level, you slowly let everything to settle down itself. And there, the tranquility state arise. Only thing you provide that thing without disturbing it. Once it arises, you protect it. And then when it go to vipassana level, you observe the change, and you when you really recognize the change. As a result of that, naturally, the first hindrance disappear. Desire to become. So once the desire to become disappear, you drop out of the collective nature. Otherwise, you cannot let go. Look at this whole world and struggling to let go things. You cannot do it. Why? Because you don't recognize the change. But when you recognize the change, there's nothing to let go. And then naturally the resistance disappears. So that's how it goes step by step. So then allow it to happen. Only thing is 100% be available yourself. In that availability, in the middle, take out the ego or the self-centered mind or the doer. I do this. I want to become this. I getting this like that. This completely 100% surrender. So with that, let's try a little bit. So your right palm on your left and neck head straight in one line. And be comfortable with your posture. And scan head to toes 3 times yourself and say Sopateva, or may I be well and happy 3 times. Take a moment and think. We gathered here in this moment to practice this ancient meditation technique. All the Buddhas, all the enlightened masters followed this path, achieved wisdom. So we also gathered here to accumulate that knowledge. In this moment, with this sitting, may my body become more comfortable. May my breath be more smooth. May no difficulties come to me. May all the success come to me. Also think for a moment, this is the last moment we're spending in this very lifetime. Detach your mind from all your past memories and as well as any kind of future thoughts. Just try to remain in the present moment, observing the sensation of your inhalation, exhalation. So bring your attention to in front of your nose and your upper lip area. Deeply and gently breathe in, breathe out 3 times. And find the sensation, please. And follow the sensation and recognize this is inhalation, this is exhalation. So allow inhalation, exhalation to happen naturally. Follow the entire continuation of the inhalation, exhalation. See the very nature of inhalation, exhalation. Some inhalation will be longer, shorter, heavy, soft, warm, cold. Just accept whatever it is. Just follow only the sensation. See the change happening, followed by the inhalation, exhalation. Bring attention to your body. Observe your posture. We're going to cultivate and loving kindness in our heart and radiate it as a light through your compound, your village, city, state, country, world, and universe, and as far as you can through galaxies, other planets, stars. And just think yourself, most of people suffer because they have no options. And sometimes they have no wisdom. Sometimes people suffer because they have no freedom. So have yourself a wish, may they have the freedom, may they have the wisdom to get out of their difficulties and find the peace and harmony within themselves. With that intention, mentally repeat after me. May all living beings in this universe be well and happy. May everyone be happy and safe, and may their hearts be filled with joy. May all living beings live in security and in peace. Beings who are frail or strong, tall or short, big or small, visible or not visible, near or far away, already born or yet to be born. May all of them dwell in perfect tranquility. Let no one do harm to anyone. Let no one put the life of anyone in danger. Let no one out of anger or ill will wish anyone any harm. So expand the loving kindness and compassion and visualize yourself, send it as a light as far as you can. Forward, to your backside, to your left side, to your right side, downward, to upward. To all 6 directions at once, like the moon, the sun, spread the light, spread the energy. Visualize yourself without any condition, without any limitation, without any resistance or without any judgment. Let your heart to shine with the loving kindness and compassion from the bottom of it with the maximum effort to the highest. Wishing yourself, may all living beings in this universe be well and happy. Say sadhu, sadhu, sadhu. Dear Dhamma friends, in day-to-day life, we all look for our personal satisfaction. And when it comes to that, we know sometimes things change also. And sometimes we know averagely this life not going to bring us permanent satisfaction. And for a certain amount of limit that we know that we have to let go things. In for the surface level understanding, averagely we have this knowledge. And also when it comes to suffering, averagely we all know to certain level what is suffering. But the thing is that understanding mostly we personalize. And because of we personalize, and as a result of that, we cannot go beyond it. And as you know, that mainly what we know as suffering is mostly it's self-centered. And not only self-centered, the very danger with it, once it becomes self-centered and it is start to measure the environment, and it's going to divide the people, the situations, time, and according to you. So as just as example, we know all this suffering, but look, when something happens, how we react. If you know exactly the way of suffering, and then you should know the cause of the suffering. But when something happens as a cause of suffering, how we address, to what we address. Mostly we struggle, we go to fight. And cessation of the suffering, get out of the suffering. And we then, according to the Buddha, and when you really understand the Dharma, and to get out of the suffering, you get into the Eightfold Path. In that Eightfold Path, you're not going to hate anybody, and you're not going to get angry regarding anybody, and you're not going to tell bad words about anybody. You're not going to do any bad things about anybody. So like that, completely bodily, verbally, and mentally action you perform in good way as a result to get out of the suffering. If you really see the suffering, you see what is suffering, and now you see the cause of suffering, and you see you can get out of it, and you know the way to get out of it, because this each and everything interconnected. So if you see the right suffering, what is happening, as a result of that understanding, you're going to see the right reason for the suffering. Listen this very carefully. So if you see the suffering and as something wrong, and then as a result of that, what is happening, you're going to recognize the cause, something wrong. That it is not the right cause for that suffering. Why? Because you recognize something in wrong way. So now you can analyze yourself then. So when you recognize something as suffering or as dukkha or as an unsatisfaction, what is the reason you see for that? Why it happened to you? And then if it is right reason, it's going to show you how to come out of it. And then you trying to come out of it, and then you're going to use the method to come out of it. And then according to the Buddha, the Eightfold Path, the right view, right understanding, right speech, right action. So that way. So if you exactly see the right reason for the suffering or the dukkha or the whatever the unsatisfaction arise in the moment, now you understand it in a right way, and then it never going to lead you to wrong reason. You're going to recognize the right reasons, and then it's going to lead you to path to get out of the right, the get out and exactly the right exit. It never going to take you to the wrong exit. So then look in day-to-day life, average ourselves. You become unhappy for something and you struggle inside, unsatisfaction, and you are suffering with something. And then what you do? Because if you exactly recognize that the right suffering, it should show you the right reason. But look, mostly, are we seeing the right reason? How many times sometimes we blame to somebody else by mistake? We're going to fight with somebody else by mistake. Even in the world, how many times, even the judges, even the courthouse, and you sometimes after 100 years, and they bring back the case and they recognize it is a wrong decision they took. So even in the society, in the large scale, whole world sometimes get out of something, and we use the method thinking that is the way, but finally we get into another trouble, another difficulty. But in the surface level, we thought, oh, I understood, this is what we have to do, and this is what we have to do, and thinking that, and we get into that. But if it is right, it should show you the right exit. It cannot take you to the wrong exit. So then you have to be very careful. When you see the suffering, and are you see the right thing? Or are you recognize it in the wrong way? Why? Because then you go to wrong exit. Once you go to wrong exit, and then again you're going to get into wrong difficulties again and again and again, that it becomes difficult. That is what happening to us. But the thing is, when something happens, to exactly recognize at the pain or the suffering or the unsatisfaction, there should be kind of like a clarity in your mind. Without that clarity, you cannot recognize it. Even as example, just a simple example. And sometimes you have shoulder pain. Then you tell somebody to put some balm or give some massage. And then you tell my shoulder pain. Then somebody come and touch here. No, 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 that not that. No, here. No, no, not that place. Here. No, no, not that place. But you feel that, but still you cannot recognize the right place. But you see there is something, but you cannot even recognize. And how many doctors you know that the people have back pain and they go and they do the operation, and then they later they did the wrong kind of operation, the pain is still there. How possible it is? Why it happen? It's same thing happen in day-to-day life. Sometimes we see something as suffering, we see something wrong. It is not the real suffering exactly. And sometimes even we recognize it as suffering. And mostly we have certain kind of conditions in our mind, and we put a label on it, and we don't see the very clearly what it is. So when you practice meditation, and especially that's why when you allow this happen, this tranquility meditation, and when you go to the vipassana level of meditation, and if there is a pain arise in your shoulder, I just give just a simple analogy. If there is a pain arise in you, physical pain, exactly you're going to see the place. You can recognize the place. So that is you recognize the place. See that recognition itself, and take you to the solution sometimes what to do. Why? Because you saw the right thing exactly as it is. So when it comes to the suffering, also the same. And sometimes as suffering, we take wrong thing. And other thing is, even it is suffering, we don't recognize how exactly it is suffering. And sometimes we take the good things as bad, bad things as good. So sometimes when you try to educate children, sometimes, see, they go with the sensual comfort. And sometimes if you try to explain them it is not good, they don't recognize. Look at the whole world mostly. And how many how much suffering sometimes people take it as something good. So then the good, they take it as suffering. So then they take the good as suffering, and then to get out of that suffering, what they do? They destroy the good, the roots of the good. Because they took the good as suffering and the suffering as good. And then when they hold the suffering as good, what happening? It leads them to more accelerate the increase the power of that suffering. Why? Because they hold the good, the suffering as good, the bad as good. So that's why in the surface level, seeing this is important. And when somebody smoke or the drink alcohol or get into drugs and thinking it is good, he never going to go against that. See, that's what happening all over the world, more than any other time in the history, more than any other time in the history. Yesterday I was reading that all the information regarding the drugs, more than any other time in the world history. In this middle of 2020, they're producing drugs and they're transporting more than any other time all over the world. There is no any harbor you find without drugs. Somewhere in a container, there's maybe they cannot find or they don't want to find, but there is no, just imagine, there is no harbor in the world without drugs. There is no airport that without drugs. It's always moving. Look, in the like 100 years, it was not like that. And why it happened like that way? And the other thing is the black money. The most of the banks get into, and clean the black money. And how this happen like this way? How these corruptions become bigger day by? Because you take the corruptions as good, and once you take it as good, you empower it, you uplift it. So that is the danger. So the same thing with the suffering in this samsaric journey, that wherever we go, whatever we do, if we hold the suffering as good, what will happen? Knowingly or unknowingly, we start to empower it, accelerate the energy, the current inside it. So then yourself, in the surface level, just think, when it come to your personal life, if you think you are suffering, don't just put the label I am suffering. Just look yourself. What is this? Is it really suffering? Or is there anything else? It try to take you to something. So start to look yourself. And when you start to look, you're going to see something. So it is personal. It is not going to be the same thing. It is according to, but start to look. It's like you putting the water to the seed. You're putting the right soil. So start to look. And that will show you, is it really suffering or not? If it is real suffering, what will happen? It's going to show you cause for the suffering. You're going to see it. It's like climbing a mountain. When you climb according to that height, you're going to see the landscape. And according to that height, you're going to get the different landscape. So like that, and according to the exactly what you see, you're going to see the exit. Remember, if you see something wrong as you're suffering, then that also it's going to show you the wrong exit. So then how you can exactly see the right or the wrong? Keep the clarity in your mind. So that is the beginning point. And develop the clarity and without adding any past experience, and get into when you observe, be honest to yourself, and with that start to look, then you're going to see. And once you see it, and it will take you to the little by little to the right exit. So otherwise just think, oh, I know suffering, oh, it is very simple. Don't think like that. And even don't claim I am suffering, because maybe you don't know what it is. If it is happened for your own good or for the good of the entire humanity, how you mention it as suffering? It is not the real suffering then. So in the surface level, recognize that, and in the depth, when it comes to eternal suffering, there is something. And related with all these five aggregates and change and arising, existing and transforming to something. So this is something to see. But in the surface level, you have to develop conventional wisdom to see things clearly, to address to the situations clearly, not in a wrong way, not holding the bad things as right and right things as wrong. So first get into that awareness, and then you will see in the next level it going to appear, and in the deeper conventionally you're going to recognize how you can and transform this inside you. And then when you see what is the exactly suffering, and it's going to take you to the next level, and you're going to see what is caused. But look, ourselves, we are struggling when there is a situation come, we're struggling to get out of it. And sometimes the family in the entire history and trying to get out of it, we cannot get out of that. Why? Because we don't see the cause, because we don't recognize exactly what is really happening. So then just in day-to-day life, develop that conventional awareness and be more mindful, and don't claim, just don't put labels on situations suddenly, and start to go a little bit deeper and observe yourself and see. And then you will see very easily you can, because Dharma is not something hard. Dharma is the very basic fundamental human rights. It's not something big. It's a very basic. That is where you're coming from. It is inherent inside you. It is not difficult. When you get into the Dharma, it becomes more easy, simple. So then yourself get harbor to that little by little. And when you recognize something and look, when you do something, look, is it exactly right thing? It is for you, not for others. Just at least for yourself. Just look yourself. When you claim something, when you fight for something, when you cry for something, when you struggle with something, when you get mad for something, just for you, just think, is it the exactly right thing that you recognize? And then you will see. Even very simple thing. Just when you want to eat, you so hungry, and somebody going to give you something because you hungry, you crying and fighting and struggling, blaming to others. I want to eat. I want somebody. But if you look very carefully, is this I want to eat? And then you're going to see. Then you're going to recognize, is this I want to eat or not? So then yourself, that is a thing that's it's for you. So remember, in this path, in the very first thing, that we're going to get to self-realization. You cannot forget this self. Our main purpose, the Buddha's main purpose, is self-realization. In the beginning, you cannot tell that they destroy the self. And so the important thing you have to appreciate, you have to take care of it, And then slowly, little by little, and you have to, with the wisdom, you have to slowly get out of it. You cannot criticize, you cannot go against, you cannot fight with it. So you cannot get into trouble. So then be aware yourself. When you next time, when you claim, when you even yourself deeply, personally, you think yourself, you are suffering, you are sad, worried, unhappy. Be honest yourself and see, are you really suffering? Oh, is something else? You're going to see. Then from that moment, you're not going to hold it as suffering. See, then you get out of that, and then you're not going to go to the wrong exit. And you're not going to empower something or accelerate some other thing. So when you appreciate something the same, be very careful and look very carefully. Is this really right to appreciate? Is this really good? Because once you take it as good, it's going to take you to facilitate it more and more and more. But if you look very carefully, you're going to say, you don't need any teacher to understand that level of conventional truth. So it is only thing is just look. So with that, I'm going to tell you a story. There was a father, and that father had four children, four young boys. And the father almost end of his life, and he was thinking to give the wisdom regarding life to these children. And then he had another property little far away. And one day he called his young elder son and told, son, go to my property and there is a tree. And go and see the tree and come. And don't tell that whatever the condition of the tree, just go and observe it and get a mental note and come back. And the elder son went. It is a summer time. And he went and looked at the tree. It was so green. And all the flowers and green and good healthy tree. He came. And then the second son. And then the autumn came and he went. So, and during the autumn time that he saw the tree, it all brown. And then it's kind of like half dead. And the winter came. And then the son, the third son went to see the tree. And then in the winter, it almost nothing. It's kind of like a completely dead tree. No any leaves. And he came back. And the spring came. And then the sun went, and the springtime, and he observed the tree, and it kind of little buds, and the branches getting start with the tree leaves. So he went and he observed the tree and came back. So now end of this all, the father, the talk to all the poor children and asked, so what is the tree that you saw? And everybody start to tell, oh, this is the tree I saw, this is the tree. So the four of them start to struggle and argue. And then the father told, four of you right. But the thing is, just observing one season, don't try to get into your final answer. This is the way it is. So the life also the same like 4 seasons. And we go with the situations, we change the situation, we have to move with the situation. And sometimes observing one situation, we come to that decision ourselves. Oh, it is like this. Oh, this is like this. But we never saw the entire complete picture. Even with the people, when it come to understand sometimes people, and when people happy, and we see, oh, they are very good people. But it is completely different when they unhappy and you don't see that picture. And then just seeing the outside that when the good things happen, oh, they are so happy, they are so happy, they are good, nice people. And then they go to the hard time and they become so mad. And then you get disappointed. And sometimes when the people, very bad situations come, and they different. And they are so innocent, more humble. And how about the good situations happen? They completely different. So the joy happen, people different. And when the sorrow come to life, it's different. So just going with the sorrow or the joy or the happy or unhappy moment. Just seeing one moment, don't think that person going to be good or bad. And try to see how the people behave when they are good, how people react when they are having hard time, and how people enjoy life, how people suffer, that this pays for the suffering. So like that, and get into the complete picture, and then you can recognize who is this person. Otherwise, just seeing this outside one season, if you come to a decision regarding, oh, this is a good person, and maybe when the things go wrong, that person going to become a demon. And sometimes when the things go wrong, people so humble and nice. And then you get into that people. And when the people become, the situations change and everything going to become, that people become completely opposite. So then you get hurt. So then always remember, just seeing the outside, don't come to a final decision. And also seeing one season, don't come to your final decision. And always start to look with the bigger picture. And don't go with the narrow mind when you going to make a decision. It's always start to look for the 4 seasons and see how it's going to happen. And that way you're going to recognize something. So with that, I bless upon everyone with this good practice. May all of you be well, happy and peaceful. May no harm come to you. May no difficulties come to you. May no problems come to you. May you also have the patient courage, understanding and determination to meet and overcome inevitable difficulties in your life. During this time period, may everyone stay healthy and safe. And finally, may all of you attain supreme bliss of Nibbana. Sabbitiyo vajjantu sabbarogo vinasatu mate bhavatvantarayo sukhi dirghayuko bhava. Ittavata ca ammehi sampadam punya sampadam sabbe devanumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe bhuta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Sabbe satta anumodantu sabba sampatti siddhya. Idamme punya kammang asavakkaya vahang hotu. Sabba dukkha pamunchatu. Bless you.